My name is Erin Birch, and I work in the nonprofit sector. And right now I work for United Way of Sumner County. When you talk to someone in a nonprofit, you will get a gamut of different degrees. I personally have a communications degree with a minor in public relations. I have known folks and worked with folks who had agricultural degrees. Many nonprofit folks have a social work degree, but I personally have a communications degree. It served me well in this field. When I was going to school, there wasn't very many, if any, that I knew of, nonprofit management fields, and now more and more of those are happening. Most of the time I'm indoors. However, because I work in the development, fundraising, and advocating and community development portion of nonprofit, I'm out and about a lot. So I work indoors, and a lot of times with nonprofits, it's not Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. It could be many weekends. It could be after hours, early mornings, especially during event times. So when we say a typical day, I don't know that that exists in nonprofit work. Most of the time I am in the office. I'm able to connect with volunteers and donors, board members that I need to follow up with, and then of course go out to the community and talk about our mission and all that we're able to do. I went to school and studied communications, and specifically broadcasting, television broadcasting. That is what I wanted to do. During my time in university, I worked at the Disability Support Office, and I loved it very much. And with that, did a lot of outside volunteerism for nonprofits. I had a professor who had multiple sclerosis, and so I did a lot of work with the National MS Society. She was a mentor of mine. When I was getting ready to graduate, I had opportunities and did quite a bit of broadcasting and things like that, but I just didn't get that same passionate feeling I did when I was working with nonprofits. And so that same mentor said to me, maybe you should think about working in the nonprofit field. Hands down challenging are the stories, and hands down most rewarding are the stories. Probably the beauty of nonprofit work is that the hardships and the reward and wonderful stories come hand in hand. And so I've heard really traumatic stories, sad stories of folks that I work with. And hearing these stories and having to maybe have that heavy on your shoulders, that you're one of the people who is a champion for helping those folks. That in itself is a challenge. However, being able to be an advocate for those folks and being able to tell their stories for them when often they're not able or don't even have the opportunity to, and be able to tell that to folks who then can be a connection and linkage to help for them. Being able to connect that person and see them light up then and be passionate about the mission and about helping and giving back. That's so rewarding to see those folks have that moment, that aha moment of, I'm involved and I can do something and I can be good at it and use my gifts and give back, and it really does make a difference. It is extremely rewarding, but it is a job where you're often underpaid for the work and the hours that you're putting in. I think the nonprofit field, the nonprofit sector is getting a little bit better about that. However, it is a challenge. And so we always have this joke, when you work part-time, you really work full-time, and when you work full-time, you really work double time. And that's because you're kind of always on, you're always at work, because you're always advocating and circling back to that mission that you're passionate for. So that's my caution, is that whatever nonprofit work you choose, make sure that you're passionate about the mission and can always go back to that and find comfort when you're struggling with the hours or maybe being underpaid, because it has to be worth it. Volunteer. See how nonprofits are governed. Volunteer at a very basic level, and then maybe volunteer on a committee that plans things or works with clients. Maybe sit on a board if you're able. Really see how the nuts and bolts work for a nonprofit, so you kind of understand the whole picture. And then of course, if there's something that is near and dear to your heart, lean into that and see if it's something that you want to do as a career, as a professional, or you want to do it as a give back on your spare time as a volunteer, because those are two very different things. And I would caution people to just think about that very deeply on whether you want this to be your career or you want it to be an extracurricular activity volunteer.